Yeah, welcome back to another episode of the Format Podcast Live, Tuesday night college football edition. Yes, it's football season and we're pumping it out. Let's go. Yes. And of course, joining me is Format Podcast official college football analyst, former Fighting Illini wide receiver, former NFL and Canadian Football League wide receiver, kick return specialist, Ryan Langford. How you doing, my brother?
Hey, man, doing well. Glad to be back in the place. You know it.
Yes, sir, man. Glad to have you, of course. Glad to have you. Man, college football, man. College football. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Yeah. Feeling good, ready to enjoy it. We're gonna talk to you guys about some good college football topics tonight. Won't be as long as it was last week. Last week was crazy based on that insane week one opening schedule. So this one won't be as bad. But before we get to any of that, let me go ahead and give a shout out to the channel members. And that is, of course, Be Ready Sports and Coach T. What's going on, Be Ready Sports? Make sure you guys, after this, you go over there. If you're watching and you haven't already, like and subscribe to the Be Ready Sports channel, because in order to be ready, you got to stay ready. And what he does there is shine a light on the up-and-coming athletes that are going to be the guys that are going to be like Ryan someday, right? They're going to be on the shows talking about their experiences. They're going to play college ball. They're going to play pro ball. But they're putting in the work right now, and Coach T is highlighting those young athletes. So make sure you check that out. Show him some love. Show them some love. Next up, It's Not That Serious. What's good? It's Not That Serious. How you doing, man? Appreciate the support. Appreciate the love, man. Chief Sid Bubba. Always good to see you. Always good to see you. Wow. As soon as I see that, you popped up. What is going on, Chief? Shout out to you. Thank you for everything you do, man. I truly appreciate it. And of course, shout out to the boys from Annapolis. And no, I will not be singing the Navy song. I won't do it. You see what's on my chest right here, Chief. You see what's on my chest right here. I will not sing the Navy song, but for the next 4 months, I still got to give them their due because they got busy last year. All right, and finally, Baltimore Bruce. What's going on, Bruce? How you doing, man? Good to see you. Good to see you. And you know I'm gonna talk about your boy Bryce Underwood. We gonna get to that. But yeah, great. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for all the support. And finally, we're going to go ahead. We're going to hit the spiel. And then after that, we're going to get right into this college football talk. Let's go. If you're watching here on YouTube, make sure you go ahead, click that subscribe, that like, that notification bell. Make sure you're kept up to date whenever we drop new content on the channel. If you want the audio-only version of the podcast, open up your audio podcast platform, hit the search bar, type in The Format Podcast. We should come right up. If you're enjoying the content, make sure you give us a like, leave us a 5-star review, and drop a comment. All that stuff helps us rise in the algorithm, helps us find more sports fans, helps more sports fans find us. Make sure you write it down, put it in your phone, make a note of it. The Format Podcast is live Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern. And finally, if you're really and truly enjoying the content we're delivering you, make sure you hit that join button. There's going to be exclusive content here just for you. You. Yeah, you. Yeah, you. Yeah, make sure you hit that button. All right, let's get right to it, y'all. Let's get right to it. All right, so we're going to open up. We're going to open up with absolutely second-generation star indeed. That's right. We love it. We love it. It's great to have him.
Blessed to be able to do it.
Absolutely. All right, let's go ahead. Let's get right to it, man. So the game of the week last week was obviously the primetime game on Saturday night. That was the Michigan Wolverines traveling down the SEC territory, taking on the Oklahoma Sooners. Really good matchup. Obviously, superstar young quarterback, Bryce Underwood, number one recruit, class 2024, 5-star guy. You can see it, big, strong, fast, make all the throws, got all the tools. But true freshman in only his second start, going into very hostile confines in Oklahoma and down there in Norman, not a great place to play in your first road start, right?
Yeah.
And so, absolutely. So he goes down there and, he loses. He does not play well. And this is interesting, right? Because obviously we know the kid is going to be special. Let me start off with that. I think, as I said, he's got all the tools. I think he's going to be really, really good. And you can see it. It's just a function of him getting coached up properly and continuing to develop, having the right attitude and putting the work in. Everything else is there. He just has to do his part now. But going against Brent Venables, one of the best defensive minds in the country. If we remember, he was the defensive coordinator throughout Clemson's run of dominance where they were consistently destroying the ACC and won a couple of national championships, even beating SEC powerhouses like Alabama. I think they played Alabama like 3 out of 4 years in the national title game, right? They won with Deshaun Watson. They also won with Trevor Lawrence. So a big part of that, even though we always like to, so many people just like to think about offense, was the elite defense, and that was Brent Venables, who is now the head coach, and he's calling the defense again in Oklahoma. And he is known for giving freshman quarterbacks fits. And he is now 22-5 all time against freshman quarterbacks. So that tells you that he's able to really make it difficult on these freshmen and take away their ability to diagnose and give them a lot of trouble. And that's precisely what he did to the young fella. And again, I don't think this is any indictment on Bryce Underwood. I do believe he's going to be really, really, really good. It's just, first road start against a team like that with that type of talent, that type of defense, it just can't be easy. So he finishes the game 9 of 24 passing, 142 yards, 5.9 yards per attempt, QBR of 40. Not a great outing at all, right? Michigan tried to do what Michigan does, ran the football 32 times for 146 yards. Now, one of those runs was 75 yards long, so that helped a whole lot, right? So if you take that out, was that 31 carries, for about 71 yards. Not great.
Right.
But that's in Michigan's DNA in terms of, the playing from the trenches and continuing to pound the rock. And so when you do that, eventually you're going to break one and you're going to have some success. But, we see that. I think there's just things to learn. And before I get to you, Ryan, I'll just say this last thing. It was very interesting to me how there were so many people, pounding the desk after week 1 and saying how Arch Manning was overrated and this, that, and the third, when he, obviously his first true road start, he's going up against the defending national champions with a bunch of freakazoid athletes and an NFL defensive coordinator, right? 3-time Super Bowl champion Matt Patricia. And people were talking about how he's overrated because he didn't play well. And we find out now he may be injured, but that's a side point. He's out there playing. So, when you're out there, you're out there. But it's really interesting. Those same people were nowhere to be found when it came to Bryce Underwood. So let's hear, Ryan, now what you think about that game, what you think about Bryce Underwood, how he performed, what you think of Michigan, Oklahoma going forward. Go ahead and give us your thoughts on that stuff, man.
Yeah, well, I think for both of these teams, it's a good time that they played when they played, right? Especially, for Underwood's situation. It was a tough environment to get in there and play and perform, right? But it's good to see this happen week 2 and not towards the end when you got to get a win and you need the point. So I think there's still a lot of teams that's truly, truly trying to figure out who they are. And then when you got a young quarterback in there, you really want to see who he is and if he can rise to the occasion. And I think he's a great player, right? He'll be able to bounce back. He'll be able to make the corrections. But what Oklahoma was doing was they were running a lot of exotic blitzes, stacking the line, dropping things out. Hard to read. And that one extra second of hesitation, that can make all the difference in a play being successful or not. So I think that is one thing that came into play, but I'm confident in both of these teams, honestly. Michigan and Oklahoma. It's going to be interesting to see how they respond against all the other teams and what they play, but I think it's early enough that Michigan can make the corrections, right? Underwood can say, hey, all right, I'm in a hostile environment. I will know how to prepare that better next time. I will not allow the environment to get me as much as I did the next time, and he'll get better because, again, like you said, he's a young guy. He's playing high school ball the other day, right? Now he's, trying to lead a team to beat a ranked team or stay ranked and make it to the college football playoffs. So a lot of ball left, a lot of time left, a lot of identity things. And again, it takes one drive to get hot and a team might never look back again. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Let me ask you, Ryan, obviously you've been there, and this is one of the reasons we love having you here because you can give us the firsthand experience. That jump from high school to college, how different is, especially at the FBS level, right? How different is the level of play and the level of athletes and the speed? How different is that?
Yeah, well, I think number one, speed is the first thing that you notice. I like to think I was a pretty fast person coming out of high school, but that first summer training where we're running routes on the air, and I'm thinking I'm running full speed, and I'm like, yo, there's a linebacker in my hip right now. Like, whoa, these boys can run too. Like, okay, that's different. And then plus just schematically wise, defenses, understanding how to read things, and people working against you getting schemed, right? Because not all high schools are equal. Yeah. So, you come from different programs. That was a big thing for me. Like we were watching game film, but we weren't watching film like I watched film in college.
Right.
We weren't going to the workouts. We weren't working out, having the same type of attention to detail and urgency like I did at that next level. So I think all those things come into play. And then also you got to think you're now getting closer to professionals. So you're weeding out the best of the best every single year. And that first year of college was like, whoa, like, okay, these are all the big fish from their ponds. Now we are swimming in a new lake. Who gonna be the biggest fish out here now to make it to the next level? So, that was my take. But speed was definitely the biggest thing, the biggest eye opener of like, whoa, okay, this is different. This is different. This is different. I got funny stories. I remember I was my freshman year. I was on punt return team, but I wasn't a returner. So I was like one of the gunners or one of the ends to like go in for the block and then run with the guy. And I just remember, like, I think my first snap was like kind of running down with the gunner. And I remember I was rolling. Boom. Ball went, try to get the block, didn't get it, turned, and was rolling. Could hear it, crowd. And I remember I looked, and it was like a lineman who was kind of keeping up with me. And I was like, wait a
what
minute.
The hell?
Like, these boys out here running for real. That game speed different. So, that was eye-opening. So I definitely would say the speed for sure.
Okay. And that's why we have you here, man. You can give us the firsthand experience on that, man. That's good, man. Definitely. So you would think that that's what Bryce Underwood is kind of experiencing now in his going into his third game, right? Because I'm pretty sure that he was almost always the biggest, strongest, fastest guy on the field by far, right? You can just see what type of stud this guy is. And so now it's like, to your point, he's out there against Oklahoma and he's like, oh my God, these DNs are right here. And, I could I'll run those guys in my sleep in high school, but yeah.
And they're smarter, taking better angles, because that was a big thing in high school too. Not guys are always taking the best angles, right? High school, they just run to the right or run to the left.
All right.
Now we're doing teaching drills on angles and cutoff and backside, like all that stuff comes into play. You can't just stop and try to reverse field and run all the way around. No, it's a guy right there waiting on you. That's his job.
Yeah, no doubt. So I'm looking at Michigan's schedule the rest of the way, and honestly, it looks manageable, right? This week, Central Michigan, followed by Nebraska, Wisconsin, USC, Washington, Michigan State, Purdue, Northwestern, Maryland, and then Ohio State to end the season. It does not look to be a particularly difficult schedule the rest of the way. If they can get through with 2 losses, they may make the playoff. I mean, of course, it's going to depend on, who shakes out where in the rest of the country, but it's very possible. Everything's still on the table in front of these guys.
Absolutely. Because there's a lot of teams on that we don't really know how they're going to pan out. We're looking on the schedule for those late games, and we're thinking last year's team. We don't always know how these teams are gonna pan out, but they're gonna have a shot. It's too soon to tell.
Absolutely. So on the flip side, what did you think about what you saw defensively from Oklahoma? Brent Venables has gone back to calling the defense, which is clearly what he does best. What did you think you saw? I know you mentioned that they did a great job of confusing him with coverages and also with bringing pressure a lot, like I said, about what we saw Matt Patricia do in Ohio State to Arch Manning in week 1. Where are you on what you saw from Venables in Oklahoma?
Well, it had a great atmosphere, number one, to help, right? Playing in that environment, big time game, big time emotions, all that kind of stuff. And those guys were playing with their ears pinned back, if you will. These guys were letting it fly. They were having fun. They were dancing out there. They was, jawing a little bit. So I think as a coach, they were competing. And I think they rose up to the occasion. They knew who was coming to town. And they knew that if they didn't perform, That was a chance to get embarrassed too, right? So I think that's another thing that's so important in sports in general is understanding, like, hey, these boys coming in here to beat us. They're not coming just to come kick it. Like they trying to embarrass us in our own home field, and we gotta do it. Plus, you hear the hype about your coach. If they high on him or if not, you want to do well for your coach. All that stuff comes into play.
Very good. Absolutely. So looking at Oklahoma's schedule the rest of the way, because that's a team that, maybe a lot of people have as a dark horse playoff team out of the SEC. Obviously, they had Michigan last week. They won that. Looks like, was that Temple next? Wow. Followed by Auburn, Kent State, Texas. Obviously, that's the big one, Red River rivalry. South Carolina, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Alabama, Missouri, and LSU. So they got some tough matchups on there.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, we're gonna see, I guess, this week what Tennessee really is, or get an idea at least. Texas is probably gonna be that. Texas game is gonna be very interesting. First of all, rivalry games, as you well know, rivalry games are always kind of crazy. They could always go anyway. But now, even though Brent Venables signed an extension, I believe this offseason, there were rumors that his job could be on the line, and getting a win against Texas with how Texas has built itself. And you had a lot of people saying that Texas may win the title this year. They're locked in as a playoff team, so on and so forth. That one is going to be huge. So that's big. I'm not as high on South Carolina as a lot of other people are. Ole Miss is always interesting to me. Lane Kiffin, obviously a very good offensive coach, but they could flop at any time. Alabama, Kalen DeBoer, that one's going to be interesting. Oklahoma and Alabama, because Alabama always has talent. It's just, I don't know. It almost seems like there's just something kind of missing in Alabama right now. We'll see how it shakes out. That's late in the season, so it should be good. And obviously LSU, we'll see if they can continue to play the type of defense that they played in that first game against Clemson. So Oklahoma's got a bit of a schedule on their hands there. If they can, they can do their thing through that, they'll be all right.
They deserve to be in there. If they can handle the schedule, they deserve to be in there playing. Because those are some tough teams.
Right. Steve says what's missing is Saban. So Saban's an all-time great, but do we really know how great of a college coach he is, being as how once everybody could start getting paid, he hightailed it up out of there? That's very interesting, but I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, the results are the results, right?
Yeah, and I think the money aspect is a new wrinkle that coaches got to now think about. More so in the NFL, they think about it. In college, you never really had to think about that. So I think now that's another layer that some people aren't accustomed to talking about, and now they have to.
Right. Well, okay, Steve, you're right. He won at 2 schools, right? Yeah, he won in 2 schools. I was more so thinking about the run at Alabama, the historically great run at Alabama. And I didn't say it was luck. That's not what I said. He had to be a very good coach. I get it. I'm just talking about the fact that it gets a little easier when you got NFL guys stacked 3 and 4 deep at just about every position. And now, because of transfer portal and NIL, you can't do that anymore. And Saban was like, I don't want to compete anymore. I'm out, I'm just saying, I'm not saying that is the case. I'm not saying that's the only reason he was winning, because that would be absurd. But I'm just saying you got to think about that. Yeah, we know what those guys can do.
It takes time to build winning programs. And again, no one knows why he left, right? But I think. Right. 1 year, Alabama didn't become Alabama for 1 year. It took time.
I think he won in his 3rd year.
Yeah, it took time. It took trust, and then to maintain that too. That's why people don't like him.
Yeah,
it's not that he won a championship; it's that he won multiple championships
things
consistently. That's the part people don't like. Not just one.
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. Because in reality, as a coach, however you're doing it, it's really hard to maintain dominance, right? It's
hard.
really, exactly.
And another thing that people don't think about, I would say 100%, but there's 100%. That's what it is. That's 100% chance that the team is different every single year.
Right.
Not every single piece is gonna be back every single year.
Right.
Now the coach is in the same place, but you got different quarterback, running back, all different type of stuff. And then to still be able to do that with a different crowd every single year, that's impressive, no matter who you are.
Indeed. No, that's fair. It definitely is. Sorry, I was looking up another stat. Let me go ahead. By the way, I didn't even give you a shout out for your Illini, man. They look good.
Oh, hey, man. Want to know? We focus on the next one. Want to know?
There you go. Want to know every week, right?
That's right.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, they're looking good, man. I'm rooting for them. Yeah,
me too.
Obviously, if they play Notre Dame, well, sorry, my brother.
yeah, of course. I know, we're gonna have to handle business. Sorry, but
we'll see. If it comes down to that, we will see, man. If it comes down to that, we'll do something for the show. I think we'll do something fun.
Wild game.
Yeah,
that would be a wild game.
Indeed. All right. So any final thoughts on Michigan versus Oklahoma? I thought it was good. I just thought it was interesting how the same people who were dragging Arch didn't have anything to say about Bryce Underwood when he, looked similar against, similar, not even similar competition, against slightly lesser competition.
Do you think because his dad wasn't an NFL football player, or, the Manning heritage, you think, is that the right word? The Manning name, do you think that had anything to do with it, maybe?
Oh, that had a ton to do with it, right?
Yeah, that's
Eli, so Archie, Peyton, Eli, like that had a lot to do with it. A lot of people felt like he wouldn't have been getting the hype that he was getting if not for the name, right? And let's be real, that's probably the case. It's probably the case, but that doesn't make him a bum either. So
that's right.
We'll find out.
That's right.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and let's take we'll take two calls on this, 904-219-8264, 904-219-8264. If you have thoughts on Michigan versus Oklahoma last week, on Bryce Underwood, on John Mateer. We didn't even talk about John Mateer. That guy looks good. He looks good. Now, I will say when it comes to Mateer, he's a junior or senior transfer, and he did his thing. He looked good. Like the numbers weren't crazy, but watching him play, I'm like, okay. Yeah. And it's funny, if you look him up, you're seeing a lot of like Baker Mayfield comparisons, which I'm like, Baker touchdown maker, huh? That's interesting. So we'll see what he does or does not continue to do throughout the season. But I'll tell you, it was very smart how they handled him with the transfer portal, because they got him from Washington State and they brought his OC with him to ease the transition. Smart move. They didn't try to bring him into some right.
That's smart.
Very smart. So he's comfortable with the calls. He's comfortable with the verbiage, comfortable with the system. He knows it already. And by having him while adding his OC, I think it's Ben Arbuckle, he, as the quarterback, can also teach the rest of the offense, the scheme. Yep. So I think that's very good.
Perfect. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Steve, what you got, King of the Chat? What's going on, man?
Not much, Bruce. What up, Brian? How we doing?
Man, can't complain. Thanks for calling in.
Oh, cool. Well, that's my job. But you know what? That was like the game to watch of the weekend.
Yes.
It was there weren't many great games. We were spoiled in week one.
Yeah, man.
That was the game to watch. It was prime time. Like it was fun from me hate watching Michigan, but at the same time, it was a bit underwhelming.
Right.
I think Oklahoma made a statement at home early in the season against a Michigan team that, this is going to sound like I'm being a hater, but I'm honestly being objective. Them being ranked in the top 15, I don't know if there's much merit at all to that. I think it's a lot of branding and name. I think I can be honest. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think coming into that game, it's all about early season ratings, which is fine. That's part of the politics of college football. But we saw two teams that I think Oklahoma did what they needed to do. I think maybe there's a possibility of people jumping a little too quick on Oklahoma.
Yes.
I don't know how good Michigan is because I don't think that's a top 15 team they beat. I think Bryce has a lot of the skills long term that we can see. It's like, okay, there's something there. But right now, I don't know if he's leading a top 15 Michigan program. I mean, credit to Venables and Oklahoma for, mission accomplished. You did what you had to do. They can't control who's on their schedule.
Right.
It's a good win for right now. I would like to see moving forward, and this kind of correlates, because I know Arch was brought up, this correlates with Bryce and Arch. It's going to be interesting to see how they develop this year, which they have all the ability to do so. I don't want to sound like I'm just hating on both of them, because I do think there's long-term potential. But a lot of the things I saw from Bryce in that game were underwhelming, but he's a freshman. So it's like, I'd give him the benefit of the doubt. He's going to have to learn, obviously. But given a lot of the hype with him being the number one recruit, Arch being a preseason Heisman favorite, I just think against legitimate top 20 to 25 competition, we saw things that it's like, hey, these guys have skills, but like there's going to be a huge learning curve. The farther Michigan progresses in their season, their schedule isn't a gauntlet, but you're going to be playing your Wisconsins, your Michigan State. You're going to be playing teams where it's like, we're going to see bumps in the road this year with Bryce based off some of the things I saw. If you took that 75-yard touchdown run away, Michigan's offense was really below average.
Yeah, it was.
You know what I'm saying?
Anemic.
Now, credit to Oklahoma and Venables. You got to give credit where it's due. But I think a lot of it has to do with Bryce's, being a freshman.
Yeah.
I can't remember if I messaged you, Bruce, but I was curious in your thoughts. Michigan brought in that transfer from Fresno State, and he has some decent stat lines at Fresno State. Now, Fresno State's not a huge school, but we know Fresno State traditionally, they're a winning program that's not a major Power 4 program.
Right.
I'm kind of curious as like, what if Michigan would have played a kid with a little bit more experience in that game? Because I think that game might have been a little bit different. Again, not poo-pooing on Bryce, but we could see the lack of experience. I'm kind of curious, like, are they playing Bryce because of the money invested and ignoring the transfer from Fresno State, where it's like, hey, maybe he would have given us a little bit more of a competitive advantage in such an early game on the road versus maybe playing Bryce just because they have so much money invested? What are your thoughts on that?
I think that may have something to do with it, but I think it's just also Bryce Young's overwhelming physical tools, man. If you can kind of figure out what Venables was throwing at you offensively and then make the adjustments, right? Then the tools that Bryce Underwood has, if you could have figured it out and then put him in a position to be successful, I think they feel like he can just do way more things. Like the ceiling is much higher than the transfer kid. That's what I think. But to your point, I'm pretty sure the money has something to do with it. Yeah.
I kind of think so too, where they have a lot of investment in the kid. And to be honest, I kind of have a theory. With all the scandals and stuff going on at Michigan, I honestly think they're playing Bryce and just letting the season play out. And if it doesn't look right, I don't know if Moore is on the hot seat. I don't know if they're going to think we got 3 more years. I don't think so either. But you know how things are in college football. If the season doesn't go, like, let's say Michigan wins 7-8 games, it's underwhelming. They didn't see the development from Bryce that they wanted. Maybe Moore's in the hot seat where it's like, hey, this guy's involved with a lot of scandal. We can kind of cut things here and move forward with our quarterback of the future. That's what I was kind of thinking. I mean, it's a little bit of conspiracy, but
yeah,
I was thinking along the lines of if they don't have a good year this year, it wouldn't be anything for Michigan to go buy another coach.
Well, I was about to say, I think that even if they say, okay, Moore's on the hot seat, he'll get another year out of this thing, right? Based on even during, what was it, the whatever gate, their version of Spygate, the Connor Stallions thing, right? And during those games where Harbaugh was suspended and Sharon Moore was coaching that team to tough wins and all that, I think he showed his coaching chops. He showed what what they are good for, right? It's just, they ran into a tough spot here. And like I said, I believe that even if this year doesn't go great, unless they fall completely on their face with a manageable schedule, he'll at least get next year. I think it'll be fine.
That's fair. Good point. All right, fellas. I don't want to take up too much time. I appreciate you taking the call.
Yes, Steve. Appreciate you, man.
Oh, Irish.
Always. No doubt. Always. All right, Steve, king of the chat with another good call. Yeah, he makes some good points. I think Michigan's going to be all right, though.
I do too.
I think they have the number one running back in next year's class, too. So they're going to stay true to who they are and what they are. They're going to do what they do.
And they're still going to recruit high, too. Like, I don't think there's enough out there to be like, oh, no, I can't go to Michigan now. If they offer me, I ain't going. Nah.
Right.
You see that letter and they say, hey, we want you to come up to Ann Arbor. You're going to give it some thought.
Yeah. And if the money's there, you're going to give it some more thought.
You got to.
Absolutely. Not too concerned about it. All right. Let's go ahead and let's move on to the next topic. This one, man. This I find very interesting. USF Bulls, man. University of South Florida Bulls. I know you kind of like this, Ryan. I know you're a guy who kind of roots for the underdog at times, and you're liking, what you see here. And also growing up rooting for the U and seeing Florida go down, I think is always good. University of South Florida, man. This is interesting, right? So let's start here. Every year, and I think you'll agree with me on this, when the season starts, among the group of five, right, we kind of look at Boise State and we assume they're the class of the group of five. If there's one spot guaranteed in the playoff for the best team in the group of five, highest ranked or whatever, it'll be Boise State and they'll get that, right? So Boise State opens up out at South Florida, and South Florida said, hold my beer. I think they were irritated and upset that people automatically just handed this thing to Boise State out of the group of five, and they went on and they shellacked them. Okay, that was a surprise. Now, you could look at that and say, well, okay, Boise State's a different team. They're trying to adjust to life without Ashton Genty, who's with the Raiders now in the pros. So I get it. That was a huge chunk of their offense disappeared. Hey, Mr. Realist, how you doing? Sandy, what's going on? So I think that they're looking at it and they're saying, okay, well, a lot of people, we're looking at it and saying, well, okay, USF caught a Boise State team that may be having a down year this year. Okay, cool. They'll come back to earth now. Then USF goes into the swamp last weekend and beats Florida out of the SEC. So, and we know how that goes, right? 18-16. Now, they didn't blow them out, but clearly they were able to match up with them physically, and they were able to beat them, man. Give me your thoughts on that. That was a shocker to me.
I love it. Honestly, head coach Alex Golish, who was our special teams coach when I was in Illinois.
Okay, all right. Shout out.
So shout out to Illinois. Shout out to Coach Golish and what he's building there. And I think it's cool to see. It's super cool to see. And I think this is one of the teams that why they built the playoffs for teams like this. To, to get hot. Start winning some games and be like, okay, I like to see them if they can maintain to get in there. Right. So I'm definitely pulling for them. Again, being from a Florida school too, I think that's cool. My sister went to USF, so shout out. USF's kind of in the lane for family too.
That's what's up.
But yeah, it was exciting for me to see. And then the swamp is a hard place to go in and silence the crowd like that. Yeah, and get the dub and leave. That's impressive. That's impressive.
Very, very,
That's impressive. But they're gonna get back to work, and they got a good matchup coming up this week. But
sure do.
The target is definitely on them now. I don't think
they're not gonna catch anybody. Right. Correct. Correct. One of the things I think, excuse me, is interesting here is, excuse me, you look at USF, like we said, they start off and they upset. Well, maybe it's not an upset now. They beat Boise State handily, then they go into the swamp, and it's like. I think what people are forgetting, even though it's not Miami, Florida State, or Florida, it's still a college football program in Florida, i.e., they're still going to have a lot of talent, right? Yep. They're going to have strength. They're going to have speed. It's still in an FBS program in the state of Florida. Those aren't bums playing at USF. They might not be at Alabama or at Florida or Georgia, but those are not bums playing at USF. So I think we always got to take that into account, right? It's like with UCF a couple of years ago when they were doing their thing, and we'll see what they continue to do now that Scott Frost is back there. But yeah, they're going to have athletes. They're going to have fast guys. They're going to have strong guys. So I think a lot of times maybe people don't take that into account, that even though it's not one of the big name Florida schools, it's still a Florida school. I think when Lane Kiffin was coaching at FAU before he went to Ole Miss, he had them guys like 11-0. So,
Rolling.
if you can, if you can coach and recruit a little bit, there's going to be some talent there, because those are the second tier guys. Right. And the guys on that team are the second tier guys out of the state who maybe grew up wanting to play for the bigger schools. The bigger schools snubbed them. So they said, okay, I got you. Just give me a chance, And I think maybe that's kind of the sentiment that a lot of those players have. And now when they're playing these matchups, it's like, yeah, we're not afraid. So
I agree.
So we got USF now, and let's talk a little bit about this. They win this game at Florida, sets them up. They're now 2-0, and they got to play against the U, which seems to have had a resurgence. And I'm wondering, like, what is it going to say for USF, for the U, for the group of five, if they can pull off this win and beat Miami this week? Now, let me be clear. As a Notre Dame fan, and Notre Dame losing to Miami in the opener, while I would love to root against Miami, I need Miami to keep on winning so that this loss won't look as bad, losing to a very good Miami team close in week 1. So I got to root for Miami. But ordinarily, I love the small guy getting a shot and pulling the upset, man. But what do you think it would do for USF if they can pull off this upset against the Canes?
Well, I think publicly it'll do a lot for them. Because I've been around Golish and I've played, under him in a sense, him being a coach, and I know his mentality.
Yeah.
They're preparing to go in there and win against Miami. They have no doubt that they can go in there and beat Miami at their house. I guarantee you that. You know what I'm saying? So now the world might be shocked because they're not being prepared for that. But USF, they know that they can go in there, match up with these guys, play ball. They watching the tape, they breaking it down. And they've got the belief because they just went to the swamp and handled business.
That's true. That's
so
right.
If there was anybody on the team that was like, oh, yeah, we're going to beat the Gators. Yeah. And they really did. Now it's like, okay, hold on now. we really are nice. Let's roll.
Let's go.
Yeah. I think that it's going to be, I'm pulling for them. Now, Miami knows that also.
Yes.
Miami knows that. Look, USF come down here and they roll us. We're in trouble. We're in trouble, and Miami's gonna have to do what they need to do. But it's gonna be a game. It's gonna be a game. They don't want to look like Boise State out there, so they're gonna have to come and play and handle business, or it could get ugly pretty quickly. And
no doubt.
I think they'll handle. I think it'll be a good game.
Yeah.
Hopefully it comes down to, a couple key plays on like special teams or something. I could see that.
So you mentioned playing previously in college for USF's head coach, Coach Golish. You said, what is he like? What type of personality is he? And how is he pushing the right buttons to have his Bulls playing how they're playing right now?
Golish is a great coach. Number one, he has just a natural friendliness about him, right? Cool, joke around, that kind of stuff, make some jokes, crack some jokes with you. But when it's time for football, it's time for football. He knows how to turn it on. He knows the game. He knows angles. I just remember when we were doing special team stuff and he was talking about punting. He was just making drills up and doing this. And hey, you want your angle to be here. This your aim point. So there's a lot of little things that he knows ball, and now he's going to have his position coaches, offensive, defensive coordinator, his leaders in the position to believe in what they got going on, because they wouldn't be able to be 2-0 right now without everybody believing in themselves, if that makes sense. So he does a great job about doing that. And he's a player's coach, right? You can always come and talk to Coach Golish. Like we still message every now and then on social media. Like Golish is just a good dude, great family, and a coach that you'd want to play for.
Is he a hard-nosed type? Is he a tough coach?
I think I think so. I think every coach has their level of toughness, right? Now, is he as hard-nosed as some of the other coaches that I've had before? No. But also Golish wasn't a head coach when I was with him. You know, he was just a special team. He was running a special team. So, you know, he had a level of, you know, he could be hard-nosed, he could not be. I mean, I think clearly what he's doing is working if they're 2-0. You know, the level of coaching, hard-nosed or not, you know, it's working. I know that if he needs his guys, if he needs to get on some guys, he's gonna get on some guys. But I also know if you're doing well, he gonna let you ball. He gonna let you play because he trusts you.
Right. Okay. Here's the flip side of this thing. Now we've talked about USF, and I think we're both impressed with what they're doing. Only through 2 weeks, but we're impressed with what we've seen. You know, we're happy for him. You so more than me. But let's look at the other side. There were questions going into last season about Billy Napier, Florida's head coach, whether he was, you know, ready for the job, whether he was going to be on the hot seat. But they kind of discovered DJ Lagway and his talent and coached him up and had him playing well. And then they were looking at how Florida ended the season last year. They ended the season well, so there were kind of maybe high hopes in Gainesville. But after this, there's a lot of people calling for Billy Napier's job. If Florida does not play well this season, does Billy Napier lose his job? Does he even finish out the season? What are your thoughts on that? Because, you know, there's not a lot of patience in the SEC, and you're also looking at Florida, and they are chomping at the bit and not happy having watched Georgia win a couple of championships since they last did, and, you know, Saban and Alabama having won championships since they last did. They want to get back there, but
yeah, they do.
Billy Napier is not going to get them there. So what are we thinking about that?
They do. I mean, I think anytime you're not producing at a level that fans are expecting you to, you're naturally on the hot seat. This loss did not help at all. Right. You know, how these seasons have ended these past few years haven't been helping. So I think they should be on the hot seat. I'm never out like, yeah, you got to fire the coach, because at the end of the day, players got to make the plays. But you know, the coaches are the ones that are advising and calling the schemes and making those things happen. But they're not getting it done right now. So I think they're going to have to, you know, get back to the drawing board, get their confidence back, because I definitely know it's shot right now. They're definitely feeling down, definitely like, hey, you know, what can we do? And I think they got to just fall back on their fundamentals, start handling their things, start making their plays, and then they can turn this around. But if not, it might be a new head coach up there.
Right. And now let's look at their schedule. Their schedule is absolutely brutal. Obviously opened up with the 55-0 win against Long Island, expected. Then they lose to South Florida. That was probably maybe the last gimme on the schedule, or what appeared to be, because this weekend, and we'll talk about it shortly in the week 3 look ahead, they play at LSU, night game, tough. Then they play at Miami, tough. Then they have Texas in the Swamp, tough. Then they play at A&M, nasty work at Kyle Field. Then they play Mississippi State in the Swamp. Then Georgia in the world's biggest outdoor cocktail party, right? Then at Kentucky, at Ole Miss, tough. Tennessee, and finish versus Florida State. Like, that's not a good schedule at all if you're trying to save your job. No, it's not.
Yeah, that's not.
And I'm not the guy that's always with the SEC. The SEC schedule is, oh my gosh, and I'm not with that. But this is a nasty, nasty schedule the Gators got to try and navigate here. I don't think Billy Napier is going to survive this, man.
Yeah, that's tough.
Right.
That LSU, Miami, then Texas run, that's tough. Then A&M after that.
Not good. Not good.
Even Mississippi State,
3 of those on the road.
Crazy one.
Yeah, they beat Arizona State. I couldn't believe that, man. But you know what? Quick side note: Arizona State. That's another team that lost a huge chunk of their production from last year, with Scatterbo going on to the league. I think he rushed for 1,700 yards and had about 2,400 yards from scrimmage. So that's it's a tough spot to be in.
Yeah, that's tough. Time will tell. It could be done.
Yeah, they will.
They're gonna have to pull all the rabbits out the hat.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, okay, it's one thing to say somebody's not good enough, you fire the guy, but my question is always, okay, cool, you fire somebody, what's your plan for the replacement, right? because you can fire who you want, but if you don't have the right person coming in to follow up and try to fix the problem, you're still stuck, where you were stuck before, know?
Right. And everything takes a hit when you get a new coach. There's an excitement of a new coach, but, recruiting is going to change. Now transfer portal's ability, people going to be in and out with the quickness. They can barely stay if there's a coach staying in the program. Guys trying to get out.
Right. Yeah, no, I don't know what it's going to do, but I know Florida's in big trouble. I think they're going to be bad this year. And it's funny because the season started with a lot of hope, but unless DJ Lagway catches fire and goes crazy, because I don't see them beating LSU, as much as I hate to say it, especially not at LSU at night. I don't see them beating Miami. I don't see them beating Texas. I don't see them beating Georgia. I don't see them beating Ole Miss or Florida State, right? So what does that put? 6-7 losses on the schedule? You're gone, Napier. You're not surviving that. You're not.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. So
that's tough. So that's an uphill battle there.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is, man. So yeah, that's what I was thinking about, man. As much as it's awesome to see what South Florida is doing, the flip side of that game is, oh my goodness, Billy Napier and the Gators are in big trouble.
And I want their quarterback to do well too. I like this game, but it's just not. It's they struggling. They're struggling, but it just takes one. But it's going to be hard to get that one based on that schedule.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen this week. Yeah, man. Okay. All right, well, let's go ahead and open up the phone lines. We'll take a couple calls on this. Let's do it. 904-219-8264. 904-219-8264. If you have thoughts on South Florida and what they're doing and how impressive they are, how long you think this can continue, or if you have thoughts on Florida, their future, Billy Napier's future, will he even survive the season, or will he get fired mid-season if it gets too bad? I think that's a serious question. In the meantime, let's look at South Florida's schedule going forward.
Fires. That's tough.
Yeah, those are tough.
Let the boy finish out. Give him a shot. Let him try.
Right. So South Florida, after this game at Miami, they started off tough. They have a very manageable schedule the rest of the way. South Carolina State, Charlotte, North Texas, FAU, Memphis, UTSA, Navy, which is always tough, UAB, and Rice.
Wow.
If they can pull off another shocker, beat Miami, they could go undefeated here. They could go undefeated or have one loss. And the one loss might be Navy, because Navy is just so difficult to prepare for and so difficult to play against, that triple option type system. So, they could have one loss or be undefeated going into the playoff. And then who knows? Like you always say, you just got to get in there, and you never know what could happen with the right matchup. And at that point, they won't be afraid, right? Because they'll say, look who we've beaten so far, you know? Yeah. I love this. Ryan, I can't tell you. I mean, I know I have, but I don't think you get how much I love this expanded playoff, because it's giving guys a real shot. It's rewarding.
What everybody always wanted, I feel like.
Say again?
Everybody always wanted this.
Yes.
Just the ability because for me, it's like college basketball. Like, I love college basketball just because it seemed like anybody could make it to the Final Four. That's what's so cool. Yeah. Now you kind of get that same aspect of football.
Yeah, no, I love it, man. I really do. I think it's awesome to see, because I've been complaining for years. Like, to me, it doesn't matter if the little guy goes in there and gets beat down 60-0. He earned that beating, right? He earned his opportunity to go in there. That's right. Yes. They earned that opportunity to go in there and try to do what they do. And if it doesn't turn out, it doesn't turn out, but they earned it. I mean, think about it. We will never know that undefeated UCF team that beat Auburn in the Peach Bowl. What, 6 or 7 years ago? That undefeated team, we'll never know how they would have stacked up if there was a playoff, or if they'd have gotten a shot. We'll never know. And I always like to go back to that, because that UCF team beat an Auburn team that beat Alabama and Georgia in the SEC in successive weeks. That was a really good football team, that UCF team. So
they were hot too. They felt it. That's the type of team that's like, okay, it'd be cool to see them.
Yeah. And I believe they went undefeated all through the following season, and then they got beat in the Fiesta Bowl, I want to say, by Joe Burrow and the LSU Tigers the year before they went nuclear and won the championship. And they played them basically to a standstill. I thought they lost by one score. So I'm like, like, give these guys a chance. If they get smoked, they get smoked. But it is what it is. Mm-hmm. And we got to stop doing this, they should never have been there. Nah, you don't say that in the NFL when guys are getting smoked in the playoffs. Don't say it here. So,
that's true.
That's my thought. All right. Let's go ahead and we'll take it to the final topic. And that's our week 3 look ahead. We always like to look at the big matchups from the next week. And obviously you can see by the thumbnail, the matchup that I'm most excited about. And that's the Irish trying to get back on the horse after taking a tough loss in the opener at Miami. I know you were happy about that. But they've got Texas A&M in their home opener. Now, A&M, I think, is going to be ready to try and go up there and win and really, bury Notre Dame's season, especially given as the Irish went to Kyle Field last year in their opener and beat A&M on the road. So A&M is looking to return the favor. So that is, for me, obviously a little bias here, but for me, that's the game of the week. But what do you think about that one? And what other games are you interested in?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great one. I really do. Yeah. I mean, it's Notre Dame's a tough place to play too. That's an environment up there. But like you said, Texas A&M is going to be trying to go in there and make it their home. But of course, to hear Illinois plays Western Michigan, we should handle that. Western Michigan comes to us. Wisconsin goes to Alabama.
I want to see that.
Interested in that. Wisconsin, a good Big Ten team.
Always.
Alabama is Alabama, trying to get some things rolling.
Yeah.
Had a dominating win last week. I think they got to come out and handle Wisconsin, and that could just give them a little bit more life rolling into these next season. Or next few weeks. Well, Wisconsin's a good team. Then number 2, USF at Miami. That's going to be a great game to watch. Excited for the state. It's cool to see USF ranked and playing good football. And like we said, looking at those last 2 games or last games of the schedule, got a chance to be super special. If they can pull this one out. That could be cool. That could be super cool. And then interested to see who Tennessee is. Georgia, Tennessee. Interested to see what Tennessee looks like. Haven't really watched a lot of Georgia this year, so I want to kind of see what they look like.
I think this is their kind of first real test. This Tennessee team. Yeah.
And then Texas A&M, Notre Dame. So those are the ones that I've got circled.
Agreed. Yeah, some good games there. Definitely agreed. And you always want to see stuff like that. And I think for just towards what we talked about before, the Florida LSU game, I think is going to be, that's a big one.
That too.
Definitely want to see what happens there. But I think he did. Yeah. Because again, I feel like Billy Napier almost maybe coaching for his job here. He does not have very much rope left. And somebody's getting ready to kick that chair out from under him if he loses this game, So we're going to see just how prepared. Yeah. Death Valley at night? Absolutely. Right.
Death for real.
Yeah, for sure. And what's funny? Side note, something you mentioned Wisconsin at Alabama. And I think this is a tough one, right? Because obviously up in Wisconsin, it's not cold yet, but it's already started to cool down, right? And now they're going into the deep south, still very humid, still very hot. I'm curious to know how conditioned they are for what they're going to face here. That's a different ball game from, and this, being a Big Ten guy and being from Florida, what the difference is even at this point in the year, weather-wise.
That's right.
Right. So going from Wisconsin to Alabama, that's going to be a totally different ball game.
Mm-hmm.
That conditioning, man, that's going to play a role. That's definitely going to play a role. So are they going to be physically prepared for that? Furthermore, just, playing against that type of speed and athleticism, we'll find out.
Mm-hmm.
Luke Fickell's another guy who he may be on the hot seat pretty soon here. He's been a very good coach, but I think he messed things up when he went to Wisconsin. I didn't like that move at all in terms of he brought in, I don't know if he's still there, but he brought in Phil Longo, who was the former UNC offensive coordinator under Mac Brown. And Phil Longo was running like some type of air raid system. That's not what you run when you go to Wisconsin. You can't change that drastically because you're not going to get the quarterback. You're not going to get the receivers. You stay with what Wisconsin does. That's pounding the rock, but you also try to get in there a good quarterback that can play off of it. You try to get a high-level tight end and at least one elite receiver, and you'll be fine. I don't know why he tried to make such a drastic change philosophically at Wisconsin. That's not what you do, and that's not what works there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
do coaches think this stuff through when they make those kind of rash decisions?
But I also think there's a certain level of each coach that's like, I'm going to be the difference. I'm going to be the one that'll be able to make the adjustment and try to do things not the way I want to do it, but every coach is coming in and trying to make their adjustments to make the difference. So it's hard to truly pinpoint and say what they could or could not have done. But that's a great point of knowing, like, okay, I'm coming into this type of scheme, picking up these type of pieces. Is it worth trying to really change everything, or should I just tweak some things? And I think that's what coaching is, honestly. That's probably middle of coaching truly is seeing what you're working with, knowing what you're strong at, and how can you tweak and make that the best product come week one to sustain for the entire season.
I just, like you said, tweaking, I think, is the way to go. But to make such a drastic philosophical change in an environment where it's been a certain way for so long and yielded a very good amount of success, not championship success, but high level success, Rose Bowl success, Big Ten championship success, Big Ten championship game participation success. Like Wisconsin has been, putting players in the league, and then you try to do this. Like, I thought it was so dumb. I think Wisconsin would have been better off if instead of bringing in Luke Fickell, if they would have hired Jim Leonhard as their head coach. They should have done that. That would have worked. Because what would he have stayed with? Elite defense and running the football. When Jim Leonhard was their defensive coordinator, I think they were top 10 in scoring defense like every year that he was their defensive coordinator. Why wouldn't you stay with that?
Yeah, I didn't know it was top like that.
No, their defense was elite under Jim Leonhard. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah,
absolutely.
Sure.
Right. So I don't know. I think it's pretty stupid. Autism Boy, I'm sorry I didn't see your question. Yes, I believe that this South Florida team can make the playoffs as the best group of 5 team. What they will do when they get there, not really sure, but I believe they can do it. And like we were saying earlier, Cottage, if they upset Miami this week, they got a really good chance of, going undefeated or only losing one game the rest of the way. So they have to focus on this one. But after that, it's probably like smooth sailing and they would make the playoffs. Yes. To answer your question. Yes, we believe so.
Yeah. This is a big game. Because what's also, it's those other games, we don't know how much weight they're going to carry. They already, off of just the eye test, don't look like they carry a lot of weight.
Right.
So that's why it's good that they've already got these wins under the Boise State win, Florida win. Like, you get Miami under there, and you got those wins that aren't that impressive, but you're dominating, you're winning by 30, 40, 50 points.
Right.
Man, that would be something.
Yeah. But it just occurred to me, we looked at Florida's schedule and we both agree they're going to have a lot of difficulty, the rest of the way. When they struggle, that's going to suck for USF going to the Swamp and getting that win. Now, it's still going to be everybody always gets extra credit for beating an SEC team, right? Especially at said SEC team's home stadium. But still, if Florida turns into, the bag of flaming dog crap that we think they will, you're not going to get nearly as much credit for beating them. So But we'll see though. We'll see. But yeah, they got some good games this
win too.
Right.
It'll really be however Boise. I mean, that's a great point though. It'll really come down to how both of those teams win.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great point.
No doubt. Question for you. I didn't bring this up, but before we open up these phone lines for this last topic, Clemson at Georgia Tech. We saw Clemson really struggle last week against Troy before their superior talent was able to kind of carry the day. What's going on with Clemson? Do you have any idea why they're struggling so much early in the season? It took them a long time to wake up against a team they should have buried.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I think they're gonna have to because who they had last week?
Troy.
That's right.
Yeah, they almost got beat by Troy at home.
Right. Yeah, that was one of those sleeper games. That's where they probably came out, didn't handle business, and Troy came in knowing that we've got nothing to lose. People probably already thinking we're about to lose. So if we believe we can win, we just got to get up with these boys. And once it wasn't a lost game by halftime, they were like, we might have a shot.
Ryan, something I noticed with you, man, you talk a lot about belief and how much when you believe you can win, how much of a difference does it make? For us who've never been on that level, how much of a difference does belief truly make? Because we tend to look at it like, look, you could believe all you want, but if you're going up here against, Bama and Saban's heyday, I'm sure Notre Dame in 2012 believed they could win that game in the national championship, right? Number one scoring defense in the country. You got Manti Te'o, who's a Heisman finalist, and blah, blah, blah. And we're ready. They believed they could win, and they got monkey stomped. How much does belief really make a difference?
I think belief matters a lot, right? Now, at the end of the day, you still got to go perform. And I think that's the next step after the belief, right? And before the belief is a preparation. So until you can be prepared, right, you got nothing to believe in. So you better start preparing for what we got going on to build that belief so you can go execute. So I think it's so important that you got to have some type of belief for those situations, because not everyone – football is won and lost in the mind more so than a lot of people think, right? You can come in, matching up on paper with somebody, and you're not mentally prepared to go out there, and somebody gets up on you because they believed and handled their responsibility. That can make all the difference. And you can be down and thinking, man, we're not going to be able to come back. That's belief, right? There's a point in the game where USF had the ball, and someone on the Florida sideline was probably like, yo, we might lose this game. That's the belief. Right. Because now that thought's in there, it's in there. While USF is like, yo, these boys giving us a shot. We can win. Right. You know what I'm saying? So all those little, just because there's moments, it's like in life. That's why I love football, because you can, there's things that decisions that you got to make in life, working hard, doing the things you don't want to do, sudden change. Hey, man, we had this great preparation. We scripted our first 15 plays, quarterback throws the interception, play 1. Now we're completely off script. Everything's complete. What are you going to do? Focus up. Handle the next play. Don't live in the past. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of just mental belief things that come into sports and into things that are so important that can affect the outcome. So belief is everything. But at the end of the day, you still got to go out there and put the pads on, because they're putting the pads on just like you are. It's still one-on-one competition, but that belief and that preparation up front can help.
No doubt. Yeah. Okay. Well, they're from the mouth of a pro. Side note, we've been talking and mentioning guys that we think are on the hot seat. How much more time can Mike Gundy possibly have in Oklahoma State? There's a lot of money with those boosters, all those oil-rich people. He's been there a long time.
He has been. I say time is ticking. He has been there a long time.
Yeah. Got absolutely dog walked by Oregon last week after he ran his mouth. Like, what are you doing?
Had any big time anything.
No. The last things I can remember coming out of Oregon State is Justin Blackman, who didn't do too well in the league at wide receiver.
He had some other issues going on too.
Right. And They had a quarterback too, ended up playing for the Steelers, but
yeah, they did.
and a couple other
That
teams.
was it.
But yeah,
That
I mean,
was true.
yeah. So I'm, there's no reason that Oregon State shouldn't be better. I think it's time for Mike Gundy to go. Because if you remember, maybe 10, 15 years ago, like that was an explosive offensive team, putting up a lot of points, really competing, going at it with Oklahoma and Texas in the Big 12. So like, I don't know what happened there.
Yeah. I wonder if NIL and transfer portal and all that stuff was coming into play, because
it's coming into play for everybody. Why can't they figure it out?
It's different. It's a different game, but it probably, it's probably they probably looking at somebody else here pretty soon.
I would assume so. I mean, how much longer can they let this go on when there's this much money out there to be had, right?
That's true.
So,
and now playoffs.
That's what I'm talking about, right?
You can turn around next year and be playing for national championship.
Yeah, go get it. So, I think it's time that guy got to go. And he did the best he could, but I think his time has passed. So that's my thought. All right, let's go ahead and we'll open up the phone lines one last time. See if we get a couple calls in for this topic. Week 3 look ahead. Call in. Let us know what games you're looking forward to in week 3. I know Steve is much like me, looking forward to Notre Dame and A&M, of course. But what other games are you looking forward to, and how do you think they will affect the long-term outcome of the college football season? I know we got a long way to go, and trust me, I am not in any way rushing it to be over, because I love doing this every week. But give us your thoughts.
That Clemson Georgia Tech game. Georgia Tech undefeated.
Yeah, they're very quietly a good football team.
Georgia Tech 2-0.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Quietly a good football team. So, you just, some of this stuff you wonder, man. There was another one. So Kirk Ferentz at Iowa, how much longer can he be there? I mean, they're consistently a competitive team, but this 8-9 wins thing, that can't be enough. Like,
just can't make it over the hump, seems like.
Yeah, at some point you got to try and bring in somebody who is a new voice, new blood, new energy, and try to do something. Kirk Ferentz had to fire his own son as OC last year because the offense was so anemic. Like, it's time. We appreciate everything you've done. You've done a lot for the program. It's time. And you're not rooting for someone to get fired, but sometimes you see the writing on the wall.
You're looking at the numbers. It's like, hey, what are we doing here? But maybe they're high on him. Maybe they're content with him in the position, and they think he can turn it around. But
turn what around? I don't see it, Ryan. I don't see it. I mean, I guess they're fine with the stability and the the level of competitiveness, and they're sending guys to the league. So when you consistently send guys to the league, it helps your recruiting. So I mean, it could be that. Yeah. Well, I guess we got what we got. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Looks like we're not going to get any calls on this. That's okay. For those of you who are still here, definitely appreciate you. For those of you who are watching on the replay, appreciate you too. Make sure you like, subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure you share the show to other people that love college football and love sports in general. So Tuesday nights are our college football shows, but we talk about all types of other sports on our regular shows, whether it's Sunday, whether it's Wednesday, and whenever we go live during the week. Besides that, Ryan, quick note: are you a boxing guy? You enjoy boxing? Okay.
Every now and then. I don't watch it as closely as other people do.
Got you, because there's a mega fight.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, mega fight Saturday night, Canelo and Bud Crawford. So, and I believe it's on Netflix. So,
Who you got? I got Crawford.
I got Crawford too, by decision. He's not knocking him out by decision, though.
I like it.
Should be good.
On Netflix, you said?
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
Really?
Yeah. That's right. All right, everybody. So we are going to go ahead. We're going to hold up right here. We're going to call it a night. Thank you so much for everybody who joined us. Appreciate you. As always, I appreciate you, Ryan. And that's about it. Make sure you like and subscribe. Like I said, make sure you check back with us. Another show Transformer and I will be back tomorrow night. My main man Sneed might join in as well. That's our Wednesday night show, and we'll talk some NFL or NBA or boxing or whatever it is we got to talk about. Because, well, that's what we do here on the Format Podcast. So appreciate you tuning in. We'll see you then, and we out.